Welcome back to the L.U.M podcast. I'm Luke.
And I'm Mike.
Listen up, motherfuckers. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of things that have happened in the news. One of them is breaking as of like yesterday and the day before. This episode is brought to you by beer. So if I happen to burp, excuse me, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We'll fix it in post, baby.
That's going to be an edit later.
Yep, fix it in post. Now, so first thing we're going to talk about is Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell is a representative, or is he a senator from California?
Yeah, California.
And
currently running for governor.
Running for governor. There was actually an Instagram personality who found that she was going to be speaking with him, and she got contacted by many people saying, don't be in a room with him alone. Be careful, he's bad news. Cuidado. And so she started digging deeper and stuff broke, and she helped it. And if I can find her, we'll pop her in the we'll pop a photo of her in the cast here. But apparently he has engaged in sexual misconduct, allegedly at this point, but I'm more prone to believing women and taking their allegations and accusations seriously and investigating them as if it were someone I loved or cared about who made that accusation.
Yeah. It's a situation where, hey, we want to give everybody the opportunity to have their say. We want to give even Swalwell the ability to fight. And I know that we live in a society that prioritizes diminishing the language of the victims in most cases. But with the multitude of people who are coming forward, it seems like it's at least 4 last I saw.
Yes.
There's a possibility there could be some action on it. And I don't know what the statute of limitations are in California. But I would assume that they could probably do something if this becomes a very serious problem going forward. And
it's already messing up his gubernatorial aspirations. Looks like he's dropping out and facing pressure to resign from Congress. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that we are going to start hearing some really annoying and obnoxious tropes as far as why didn't these women come forth earlier? Maybe because they were scared or they were threatened or the time wasn't right or they were still processing it, or maybe they were in therapy all this time, or maybe they just didn't fucking feel like it. It doesn't matter. What were you wearing? Were you flirting with him? It doesn't matter. The second a woman starts feeling uncomfortable around you, that's the end of it. Done. Period. Puto final, motherfucker. And if you keep pushing it and you keep making your staff feel uncomfortable, then you really need to be taken to task. Because remember, there was a senator from Minnesota by the name of one Al Franken, who was an SNL comedian. He made some
questionable photos.
Questionable photos in the 80s and 90s when things were not as unacceptable. Now, granted, we see things as we are, not as they are. We see things from our time, and he was ousted from his seat, whether you like it or not. I wish he was still in Congress, but I understand. You can't do that shit and stay in Congress. You just can't. And the big thing for me is that the Democrats are really swift, at least they appear swift, to condemn this kind of behavior and to expel people or make them face accountability right away. The GOP, on the other hand, can get caught with its hand in the cookie jar or hands wherever they should not be, and they will not condemn or ouster their
well, you're talking about the guardians.
Malfeasance.
You're talking about the guardians of pedophiles, though.
Yes.
So I mean, exactly. That's the new GOP, yes. Guardians of pedophiles.
I mean, Trump is in the Epstein files more than anybody else, and the cognitive dissonance y'all should be in. The amount of mental gymnastics rivals like freaking Kim Zemeskel or what's her name, the goat.
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles, exactly. Simone Biles couldn't keep up with you guys in terms of mental gymnastics as far as
she would play
he wasn't in the files. He was a whistleblower. He didn't mean it. He wasn't in the files. And even if he was in the files, here's a war in Iran to pay attention to.
Well, the Swalwell as well. The thing that is we got to remember, we're talking about like the GOP taking action. The political left is not going to let this go because it's another opportunity, sadly, for the left to eat the Democratic Party. And unless we have a more leftist candidate in the gubernatorial race for California, then we're just going to be left, shooting ourselves in the foot, sadly. And I hope that's not the case.
There's some good California Dems out there.
There are some good California Dems.
I love Katie Porter. Every time she breaks out that easel, I'm like, ooh, teach me something, mommy.
Or the whiteboard.
I like her a lot. She's super, the whiteboard. She's super smart, and she's a mom. If you're a mom, you're driving a minivan around and you're talking and teaching me stuff, and you're showing the kind of compassion that she does, all about it. So I'm not super, super worried. Swalwell was a strong voice against Trump, and we will miss that. But if it comes at the cost of the safety of women and your staff, sorry, homeboy, you got to go. You fucked up. And I mean, and by sorry, I mean not sorry.
Yeah. Now thinking about people who make terrible decisions and making unforced errors, we still got this problem we have going on with our president actively in regards to Iran, because you mentioned earlier, trying to threaten to destroy an entire civilization.
Yes.
He wants to bring it all down.
Civilization. Do we have the tweet? Tweet Trump civilization.
Well, the tweet's insane, and it was posted on Easter Sunday to start, which really raised the ire of a lot of religious Republicans who were not fans of it at all.
Yes, Tucker Carlson threw a shit fit. Say, how dare you use this word on Easter?
Candace Owens threw a shit fit. Yes. Alex Jones threw a shit fit, to the point where all these people are effectively now on the wrong side of Trump because he tweeted about him directly.
Yes. He said, the really, really big one came after the other one, where he said, an entire civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. This is premeditation of a war crime, or of serious war crimes. How many people in Iran? 90 million? And you're threatening their civilization. Republicans and MAGA people, I have a hard time understanding that it wasn't enough when he said that Mexicans are bringing drugs and crime and they're rapists. I didn't understand that it wasn't enough for you when he mocked a reporter with a disability. I don't understand how it wasn't enough when he said he could grab women by the pussy. That's not locker room talk. And if anybody says it is, ask them when the last time was that they used that kind of language, because it's never. And if it's not never, keep your kids away from them. Keep your women away from them. He has broken one norm, one tradition of humanity, one display of human decency after another. And now he's threatening 90 million people who he bombed really without adequate reason. So my question is, when is it going to be fucking enough? Now, granted, my arms are not going to be particularly warm and cozy for you to run into when you do decide to deconstruct. My forgiveness and acceptance will be directly proportional to your active efforts to undo the harm you've done. How many times have you called your Congress people? How many times have you gotten there on a rally? What are you doing to fix your shit? However, it is still better to deconstruct, admit that you were fooled and you were wrong and you were taken in by a fucking charlatan, than to stay with him because it's your identity.
The thing that we sadly have been placed in a position of is that being empathetic, you want to be able to look at these people and say that we don't want to destroy them. We want to help them. But we're talking about generations of people who have fundamentally been, propagandized into believing that all these things were done for the best of their interests. There are people on TV right now saying that Iran has killed Americans for the past 47 years, but can't give you a precise number. And yet we can go back to the 1950s and understand what our government directly did to lead to the situation that led to the Iran-Contra deals, that led to the attack on the embassy in Iran. We're talking about a situation where the people that want to defend Trump and say that this is a positive, net positive, are doing so with blood-soaked hands. And they want to pretend like it's somehow forgivable. Their behavior is somehow the right course of action, but they can't see that they're the terrorists. They're the one going into a foreign country, deposing the leadership, murdering them, and then reestablishing a new person in charge who's more radical, and they want to pretend like they have control.
And you
have zero control. You have no control over the situation, just like you didn't when you gave the Taliban weapons in Afghanistan to fight off the Russians. You have zero control. And we want to play this game, this merry-go-round of who's going to have their the power at the end of the day, who's going to have the ability to put their finger on the trigger to be able to take out what they want to take out. And yet
musical chairs.
But then when we get to the point of the people, the problem America faces now is that the left wants to be empathetic as much as it can. Because the only other option is what Stalin did with the gulags with people who didn't support him, was put them in re-education facilities. And nobody wants that. And yet the people that want to act like Trump is the savior, that his cult is going to save the day and make America great because he's just there for America, and we are too stupid to understand. We're too dumb to understand that he's making everything better for us. We're somehow the bad guys.
But the issue is when you challenge them with facts, immediately they run away. They go full Tin Man. It's like oil can.
They run away
because facts don't work on them, and
the cult has effectively given them a safe place. The thing that they tried to weaponize throughout the late 2010s, they have these safe places online. They go and they hide. They only talk to people in their circles, and they pretend they find the weakest chink in the armor, and then try to attack it with
racist.
Any kind of semblance of a point, and do it out of complete bad faith. They don't care about doing what's good for it. They only care about being right.
Yes. And sometimes it's not even a question of being right. It's a question of looking for an identity, because the internet is fracturing us socially. And there are a lot of people, particularly men, young men, who are looking for a sense of belonging. They're looking for a community. They're looking for an identity. And everybody wants that. That is a healthy thing to have. And we don't have anything. We don't really on the left have anywhere for these people to go.
I would argue.
We don't make any decent, I don't think we don't make enough decent spaces for young men to exist. And I'm sorry that we have to talk about young fucking men again. The subject's been about young men forever. But if we don't take them, then the Republicans and the GOP and misinformation are going to, and this is what we're going to get.
I argue, honestly, that the problem is on both sides of the aisle in regards to who's being affected, because you have women who are being accepted within their church groups because they're positive members of their society, and they're being given this love, but they're not getting that love from the men in their society. So you have a lot of Christian women who want to be good women in their faith who are being left to the wayside by these red pill dude bros who think that a body count's all that matters, and that their body count should be the highest in the world. Their belief system is literally predicated on a Ouroboros chain that they can't even understand is happening. They want a high body count for them, but a zero body count for their potential mate, which is completely unfeasible. How are you gonna sleep with 50 women in the room and then look for the one that has a zero body count when you're the one and your friends are the ones perpetuating those numbers going up? It's impossible. Their entire system is unfeasible,
and it's reductive. It's reducing someone to the number of experiences that they've had and assigning a value to them is disgusting.
And then they also pick on the weakest of the group. Like I said, it's always these people taking a pedestal, reaching it straight up with the weakest of the group, because the second that you see any of these influencers be brave enough to post when they've actually talked to a real woman or a real man, it's always something that is treated like impossibility.
You talking about these gripers?
No. I'm talking about like if a dude bro or a guy in Miami is out there and he's doing interviews on the street, which is how they always find the dumbest people, and they do the interview, and the woman they talk to is actually of sound mind and doesn't respond.
With these doesn't get put on.
Stupid. They don't put it on. They're not brave enough to do it.
God, yes. You're talking about the what's his name? That dickhead who's got the black and white podcast, and he's interviewing OnlyFans girls. He doesn't have a single debater on, and they run a lot of logical circles around people and traps, and these young women are OnlyFans girls, and they're not geared up for this kind of a debate. And when the ones who are, I remember there was a woman who was a lesbian talking to one of these dickheads. He's got the beard and whatnot, and she said, let me try and sell you on my, and he called her stupid. He said, you can't understand because you're too stupid to understand my thing.
I think his name was Adam Williams, and he was talking to it, and the conversation was about how his worldview is destructive because he doesn't even follow it.
Exactly. Because his wife has several baby daddies and multiple children, whatever, and immediately he went ad fucking hominem. He went on the attack. You lick sniz. You're a fucking dyke. Don't talk about my this. First of all, saying you lick sniz and attacking a woman verbally ad hominem style makes you look weak. And it reminds me of something that, did Plato or Socrates say it? When the argument is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser.
And that's his entire thing, is just when he gets to a point where he can't weasel his way out of a conversation, because he got into a philosophical debate with a influencer not so erudite, and their conversation was effectively her trying to get him to understand that there's logical fallacies and philosophical fallacies that he's not able to comprehend and understand. And because he's unable to comprehend and understand them, he then tries to deflect and act as though the person who's trying to provide it is the fool. Because, and so these people are literally incentivized financially to be this way. They're getting backed by people who believe these people are amazing. If anybody wants to understand how weak and pathetic these people truly are, you just go watch Not So Erudite debating Adam Wilson, or you go watch any of the times that Fresh and Fit had Destiny on.
Destiny fucking dog walks them.
Dog walks them on every point they've ever made, because everything about what they're saying is so bullshit. And he calls it out across the board to the point where they only show bring him back when they want to try to like weasel in some kind of like, gotcha-ish type of topic.
Or 4-on-1 them. Yeah. Wish my boy would stop using the word retard, but
I wish he would. I wish he would be able to clear 95% of his weird sexual relationships.
Oh, who fucking cares? Couldn't care less.
Oh,
couldn't care less. Who you put what in is none of my damn business. I just want to see.
I am not saying that he's not able to do what he wants to do with himself. I'm saying that the amount of relationships he's involved himself with has caused him to have unnecessary harm to his brand, because those people have used it as a way of attacking him legally. He's had was
he involved with Nick Fuentes at one time?
He was not involved with Nick Fuentes. He spent time with Nick during a period of time where he was trying to get a bunch of debates done with him, and people took that time where he was like going to lunch with him and talking with him and trying to like get conversations going, because he was trying to use it as a catalyst to eventually dunk on Nick, which is what he did later. I remember famously in a debate between him and Nick that led to them really not talking anymore, was that Nick argued that we should have a Catholic theology, and Destiny said
theocracy.
Well, theocracy.
Oh, okay.
And then Destiny said, well, if that's true, then why are you so against Mexicans coming into the country when they're one of the
Catholics.
Highest percentage of Catholics? And Nick didn't really have a really good retort for that.
He doesn't have a good retort for a lot of shit. No, and forgive me, I'm all about finding the person for you and having healthy relationships. But as a man, I'm not listening to a fucking virgin who lives in his mom's basement. And any groiper who does, dude, unplug and get into an activity where you can get your ass around some women and talk to them and realize how to people. Nick Fuentes is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. He's going to turn your ass into the island of the donkeys from Pinocchio.
You are a useful idiot. You are a tool for him to be able to further what he believes is the right thing to do for America, which you ask any other person outside of his orbit, arguably, they would say that he's a lunatic. He's a Looney Tune.
He would be the biggest quote unquote beta in the world. I really don't understand why people follow him. Like, if you've got a big old roided up dude who's I look like a tank and all that shit, I can understand why, because he's at least physically imposing. This guy is a little fucking twerp. Who can't leave his house.
Because he's spicy and he says all the right things.
Who's super fucking slappable. I don't endorse violence, but I'm sorry, shut your dumb virgin ass up. No boys or men should listen to you, not never. You need to take classes on what it really means to be a man and fucking touch some grass, you little prick. And also, turn in your first communion suit and get one that actually fits. You look like a child and you talk like a child because you are. So again, guys, please listen to your Uncle Luke. I care about you. I care about you. And I'm not the most handsome mogger on the planet, but when I was in high school, I was popular. Not the most popular, but I got laid in high school and college.
This is a great upsell.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm ugly, but I fucked. So don't listen to Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, you know, he basically sells what they want to have to hear. They don't want to have to be critical thinkers. They want to be led. They want to be told what to do because in their heads they want to be alphas, but they're more than willing to be betas. Which is bullshit anyway, because that whole
alpha
study was bullshit.
Well, let's hold on. Let's pause the alpha study real quick. So the alpha study was this: they had a zoologist, a guy study wolves, and these wolves are in captivity. And they found that there was a lot of violence for pack leadership among these wolves. Red pill idiots grabbed that information before it was fully thought out and gone through, and it became, we're the alpha. I need to commit violence in order to use my pack.
Or Sigma. I'm the Sigma. I'm the guy who's strong alone outside of the pack, and I don't need no insert random thing to hold me down.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Sigma sounds cool, but really we're social animals, we're primates. So first of all, don't compare yourself to wolves because you're comparing wolves with apes. Second of all, the guy who did that study said it was completely taken out of context because that was only for wolves that were in captivity. Wolves in the wild are predominantly constructed of a breeding pair, a mom and a dad, and then the family unit coalesces around them. And yeah, wolves will bark and snap and snowl as a way to correct each other because it's part of their fucking communication. However, there's very little violence in wolf culture and wolf packs in the wild when they're not in captivity being fucked up by wolves or by humans. Additionally, let's talk about alpha in the terms of software. Alpha is the first, buggiest, shittiest, and most unreleasable product possible. Then you move to beta. So call me a beta. You're just calling yourself the shitty first draft.
I just want to like fall back on something you said earlier. Because we're talking about these people who are effectively red pilled. One of the things that red pill is also really into is crypto. And they believe it's a decentralized way of being able to maintain their money and gain value because you're outside of the market. You're outside of the system. You're now taking the red pill because it's getting you away from all these things that are leading to being controlled. You don't need to be a part of like the trades unions or the labor unions. You don't need to be a part of all these organizations that are going to try to twist and control you. You need to be your own individual person, which is a load of shit because the second anybody in any society isolates themselves from the larger group, they immediately get destroyed unless they're willingly trying to hurt or steal. It's just common sense. Anybody who went to the West,
easy to get picked off.
It's easy to get picked off. Anybody who went out in the West went to go try to make a new life for themselves. They had to do it around areas that had larger groups of people. Otherwise, they were just gonna you don't hear about them anymore. Ghost towns are all across the west of America.
Yeah, Craster's Keep in Game of Thrones was an anomaly of the highest order. And he also had to sacrifice his children to keep himself. Yeah.
But the whole thing with this crypto thing is we're talking about it being this thing where they're trying to say that we're not part of the system. I don't know how to break it to you fellas, but the system owns all of these things. God forbid that we've had reports coming out that Jeffrey Epstein had his fingers in the creation of Bitcoin and that he was a large contributor to the development of the blockchain and all these different things that were happening. And some people even hypothesizing that he could have been Satoshi, the guy who was claimed to be the creator of Bitcoin. But then we have situations where, oh, well, we're decentralizing ourselves. We're not under the control of these larger sovereign entities. And yet the Trump family have no problem involving themselves in crypto, putting themselves in positions where they're getting investors to put money into their coins. And then
an individual and unregulated and secretive slush fund that can be thrown into. They in the Trump meme coin has gone up exponentially, impressively.
Like they have like 1.6 billion.
People, yes, and other people are losing. My understanding is that this is an opportunity for corrupt individuals to toss money to Trump and ask for favors or things.
Favors and information.
Yes. And crypto is also outside the security of the FDIC or the SEC, which means if you get fucked, you're fucked, Playboy. It's the wild, wild west. And yeah, maybe you'll pan for gold and strike it rich, but a lot more people end up with nothing than striking it rich.
The coin recently just took a hit, the Trump coin for the World Liberty Financial.
Additionally, crypto is a tremendous waste of resources. It takes way too much electricity to do the kind of blockchain analysis, the computer nerd math that needs to happen.
You got organizations that literally built data mining centers in the middle of mountains to be able to afford the amount of cooling that they would have needed without paying for the fans. You know, so you have these people who are literally to go further into the this is a class warfare problem, because if only people with money could effectively invest in mining more money, and then Bitcoin is notoriously difficult to pull out after you already have it in, because it has to be done on a one-to-one basis. So you can't just take 30 Bitcoin out, because then you have to find somebody who's willing to put that money on the market to financially give you the capital. It has to be done through that system. Otherwise, nobody is able to pull any money out unless it's done through a very slow process. In some instances, it could take a long time. And people don't know this stuff because they never talk about it. And yet you have these things affecting literal foreign policy. I mean,
additionally, these are things that Congress is too old, incompetent, and slow to comprehend, because I feel like these crypto bros and these, particularly the AI bros, are going light speed so that Congress and any regulators don't have a snowball's chance in the devil's hell of actually getting a hold of them, regulating them in any meaningful way, and keeping them from fucking people over or moving fast and breaking things as they're so wont to do. Don't break my things. Don't break my healthcare. Don't break my water. Don't break any of that. Additionally, there was an actual, there was a meeting where an AI data center guy, I believe, got ran out of the meeting because people are realizing and getting hip to the fact that this is fucked up. It's going to fuck up our water, and it's going to increase people's energy bills, which means you guys can get fucked. Go build your data center somewhere else, because I'm not paying for it. Sit on a cactus made out of Legos.
Well, there's some things too that need to be added into that conversation so people are aware. Okay, in regards to what Luke was saying with these people being too old to be able to understand what's going on, they're getting ran.
Grassley can't even spell their data center.
Well, friggin' what Linda McMahon thought it was a A1 steak sauce when she was talking about AI once.
Maybe that's the reason why we should not be cutting the Department of Education.
The best and brightest. But no, if people know and remember, they can even look it up. There was a congressional hearing in regards to all these different groups coming together for like Meta and, and Amazon and all these other things.
They didn't understand.
And you had people from our government, our representatives, asking Mark Zuckerberg how to do things on Twitter, because they don't even understand that they're different entities.
Yes.
And then you had people who did know what was happening being unable to convince their fellow senators and congressmen and women that what was happening was actually needed to have immediate action taken, because you had situations where Amazon is under deposition admitting that they used their Amazon Basics as a way of
undercutting
the people who were selling popular items on their platform, which is a violation of our laws.
Anti-monopoly. Yep.
Anti-monopoly, anti-monopsony. But it effectively, we're looking at a situation where these people, you have to remember, a lot of these people and the age of these people we know are just ridiculous. But these are people who their first toy was literally a stick and some like stuff on the ground, and now they're being asked to give legislation on the availability of Wi-Fi, or the ability for people to have certain access to satellites and data being transferred from different things and how it's handled. But they're more worried about what they're able to control in regards to their own personal data, because God forbid we had the whole Trump and Biden and Clinton email scandals with all of them having their own private servers. because they're all too stupid to understand that most of this stuff is done through cloud either way. And we have encrypted cloud, which it was so pervasive now that when AWS, which is Amazon's web services, went down, large scale portions of the entire internet went down with it.
Yeah, the cloud got fucked.
The whole cloud got fucked. Internet websites got fucked.
But if you don't understand what it is you're trying to regulate,
you don't
have a snowball's chance in hell. They asked what the fuck is his name, Zuckerberg. They asked him, well, how do you make money on this? And he looked at them like, are you actually asking me this question? We sell ads.
Yeah, we sell ads and we sell data.
Another point in favor of term limits, and maybe, well, I won't say over-regulating, but I would say fierce and strong regulation before in the face of a brand new thing.
We need antitrust lawsuits across the board. We need to start getting into the dirt about the percentage of market share that these organizations have that they pretend they don't have, and
they're borrowing against it.
Well, the Google buys competitors on the bottom of markets so far back that there's certain language systems that were developed by indie developers that would have revolutionized our ability to talk to each other globally. Google bought the technology and squashed it because they didn't want it to be out there, because they were already in the market for developing their own software to try to do language interpretation. But people don't pay attention to this stuff, and we're in a situation now where the level of information is so needed in regards to our world that it's affecting literal, wars and affecting literal cost of value for cryptos. Yes. The Iran war directly is tied to drops in a crypto value, and it's causing large scale inflation. And I don't know what, I literally had this thought earlier today where there's a level of cognitive dissonance happening on the Republican Party side, and it's only the Republican Party side, where they will quote 21% in 2021 for the increase in inflation under Biden, but not remember that was post us getting out of COVID.
Exactly.
And then
spent our way out of COVID.
We had to get out.
And he was the one who was responsible for getting the vaccine out, because the vaccine effort was absolute trash. And don't get me wrong, I don't like Biden in particular at all, but he definitely helped us out there.
Well, in Project Warp Speed by Trump, because we don't want to forget that the people that want to claim that Biden is the bad guy can't remember that Trump's the guy that forced you to take your shots and was the same guy that did Project Warp Speed that led to the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines coming out as quickly as they did.
Which is good. It saved a lot of lives. Remember, this shit mutated multiple times over a year and a half and killed roughly 1 million people. Even more. Super dangerous, and he helped us out with that. And of course, the economy was completely fucked, and it pointed out a lot of holes in our economic infrastructure, especially for the working class, the middle class, to the extent that they still exist.
And
the thing about this crypto shit is that it's as insidious as insider trading, except insider trading is something that's actually understood by Congress. Unfortunately, it is heavily engaged in by Congress.
If you want an analogy for it, I'm going to steal this from Sam Cedar of the Majority Report, because he used this as an example of what was causing the amount of inflation during this time period more than anything else. Let's say and this is in reference to like the fuel industry, because they bought up massive amounts of oil when it was dirt cheap. But then when it came to the refinement of that oil, let's say you own a cupcake shop. Let's say you own a cupcake shop and you make 100 cupcakes, and you have 2 machines. You make 100 cupcakes a day, and you sell them for $1 a pop, right? So you make $100 on 100 cupcakes, and you have both machines working, and you're fully staffed. COVID happens, and you can't sell that many cupcakes anymore, but you still have customers that have to come in. So to cut costs, you cut half your labor staff, and you cut one of the machines off, and you only operate with half staff, and you operate at half the equipment usage. Well, the cost for using that equipment is getting cheaper because the loan you took out is being repressed because the interest rates were dropping during the same time period. But then when it comes back to having a normal economy, because you're selling those cupcakes no longer for $1, because you got to maintain costs on the machines, you're selling them for $2 now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, post COVID, everything comes back, and you are still selling those cupcakes. You're only making 50 of them for $2 a pop, but you no longer go back to your pre-COVID level of labor. So you don't bring back the other half of your staff, and you don't use that other piece of equipment, and instead of hold it in storage, pay off its loan, and then charge an extra 50 cents because you can, and you're making double the profit on this on a minimalized amount of labor. And
Or
so,
you shrinkflate everything. You change your packaging. You shrink the diameter of the frozen pizza, and you don't give it back once the economic strain situation is over. Um, it's like a set of zip ties.
Yeah.
They only tighten one way, which is why we need to stop companies from screwing us over before they do, because it's harder to unring that particular bell. Now, we were also talking about the war and crypto, and also how
these are all tied together.
yeah.
Everything.
Well, we'll just talk real quickly about the investment by Don Jr. and the other one. I think it was about oh, is this the crypto thing, or is this is the crypto thing?
Well, this is a bizarre connection to between Iran negotiations, crypto. So we're talking about like forgot his name now. Kushner, Jared
Boy
Kushner.
wonder.
Jared Kushner is one of the guys that was the main people who was doing negotiations with Iran, and we're looking at a situation where his brother-in-laws are the guys running the World Liberty Financial, and those two organizations were both involved heavily with negotiations across all the Middle East for a number of Trump family-owned things, and yet when we have the negotiations failing, and we have the brothers, Eric and Don Jr., getting major investments from other Middle Eastern countries into their crypto, you start seeing all these things being impacted.
They're also investing in a baby drone factory that had done no work and got an insane fucking government contract. The grift, the thievery is just fucking maddening. It's bad enough that you're negotiating with Iran and with other countries, even though you have zero experience and zero credentials, zero personality as far as I can see. But the fact that you're going to profit off of this and you're doing it in our face, don't fucking insult my intelligence. And it happens every single place that Trump goes. He goes, he parks, and his minions just rob the place fucking blind.
The only reason Kristi Noem got removed from her position by a lot of people's account was that she screwed up a rotten deal she had set up with her own people for a commercial for DHS, and it got caught by the public, and she got bad publicity.
She's talking about herself in it instead of Trump.
She's talking about herself instead of Trump, and she paid for the world's most expensive commercial and with a contract that no one else was able to even try to bid for. Yes. So you want to talk about corruption? Trump's got no problem with corruption. That's fine. It's him and his fans don't mind. It's them and them.
Agreed.
And then they're convinced his win is their win. They got the red hat on. They're part of the cult. The money's going to trickle down, as Ronald Reagan would say. Bullshit. And we're seeing it every day. I mean, I walk outside and I can't help but get pelted by all of that money that's falling from the sky.
It is true. I am exhausted with all the winning.
Yeah, I'm winning.
Here's my thing.
I'm winning so much. Just put an H in front of that and you'll understand more.
When this is quote unquote over, when Trump is gone for whatever reason, and it could be sooner than later due to some mental issues that we'll talk about in a minute, I want to talk to Democrats for a second.
Which ones?
All of them.
Because
I don't want to hear.
There's like 3 groups as far as I'm aware.
I don't want to hear a single thing about unity. I don't want to hear a single thing about anything other than accountability and people being put in court. If you guys are not going to prosecute these fucking criminals, then I'm going to take you as complicit, and I am never voting for another fucking Democrat. It drives me up the fucking wall. You guys better be taking notes, and you guys better have a plan other than just making cute little speeches and bringing avocados, Mr. Schumer, or having, cute little sermons, Hakeem Jeffries. I want you guys to actually do something. And when it is our turn in office, I swear to God, motherfuckers better be going to, forgive the quote from Office Space, federal pound you in the ass prison, because they are stealing, and not just stealing the normal amounts, which needs to come to an end, but you are fucking stealing in our face.
Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries don't give a shit. They are more than happy to allow this corruption to happen because they are directly invested in this war against Iran. They don't care. They're happy it's happening. That's why you haven't seen a lot of Democratic movement in regards to anything of value against Trump's power grabs, because the corporate Democrats only care about maintaining the power they can. They want to maintain the status quo because it puts money in their pockets, and they want to stop anything that could even remotely threaten it.
And
right now,
it helps their business interests and their donors.
Right now, we're watching a large scale attack online against Hassan Piker for being a leftist voice in regards to how America should hope to put itself in positions in the future by putting himself out there to get needed supplies to the Cubans, talking about the vile actions of our government, which we can't hide from. Everyone wants to pretend like we can hide from them. The American history is
called lying.
Painted in the blood of other people. It's painted in the blood of other people. That red behind me is supposed to stand for the soldiers, and it's just as much the slaves and the indigenous and the people that are across multiple parts of different hemispheres that we bombed into oblivion to make ourselves feel comfortable.
We savaged every culture that we could get our hands on, or every culture that came here as the huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
Every banana you eat's painted in blood. Yes. Everything.
Pineapple.
Pineapple is colonial excursions. Anything that's from any part of the world has been tainted with our government's actions. And guess what? I'm not mad that I'm an American. I'm not upset. I am actually proud to be an American. I'm as proud of being an American as the 50s, 60s, and 70s Captain America was, because if anybody wants to talk about hiding the truth, Cap back then was screaming at TVs saying that the government was corrupt and lying to the American people.
Yep, the original Antifa.
You want to pretend like we are somehow against the country and we're trying to stop it from being great. We're never going to stop from wanting it to be great, just not the kind of great that treats women like objects, treats people like cattle, and acts as though the government should be a weapon against the already oppressed to prop up the owners.
Again, I'm reminded of the LBJ quote. If you can convince the lowest or the worst white man that he's better than the best colored man, he'll be so busy with that he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Give a man someone to look down on, and he'll open up his pockets for you. They've got you running around, divided up by culture and race, so that they can keep you spinning around and they can just keep taking all the fucking money. I think there was a comedian who said that. Oh yeah, George Carlin. Yes, he said it a whole fucking lot. Now, the issue is also that not only are they thieving and engaging in the most disgusting corruption, and so blatantly and obviously, but they are engaged in a war that is fucking up the entire Middle East. It is messing with our fertilizer, and it is messing with oil, and it is because of one man who is experiencing what I believe is prefrontal dementia. There are a lot of reels that you can find online on Instagram that talk about Donald Trump's potential, the oatmealification of Donald Trump's frontal lobe. However, look at the clip here. Erratic, can't finish sentences, often confused, illogical train of thought, word finding difficulties, developing and word worsening gradually over time. Yep.
President exhibiting all the signs of dementia. That's from MS Now's resident doctor, Dr. Gupta.
Yes. Confabulation is one of the things where he goes off and starts talking about something, goes off on a lie, and it's so smooth because he really believes it. That is what confabulation is.
Sir, lots of people are dying in Iran. Do you have a comment that you'd like to give? Well, I just want to let everybody know that I got wonderful work done in the west or the east wing. Look at all the drapes. There's going to be so much gold, because it's going to be great. The best ballroom you've ever seen. But sir, you recently had reports come in that we bombed a school full of young young
Piggy.
girls. Well, no, you be quiet, Piggy. This is why you're the worst reporter the world's ever seen. You're the worst.
The ad hominem attacks are a sign of losing your inhibitions and losing your grip on what's potentially appropriate. The sundowning is what happens later on in the evening when he's staying up all night, tweeting and retruthing whatever 150, 400 times. It's insane. He additionally is
he's on drugs. There's no
all of them, the colostomy bag, everything.
Well, what was it? After Biden came in, there was a report that the pharmacy for the White House was handing out excessive amounts of Vicodin, Percocets, fentanyl, and cocaine. Like, I don't know,
for staff or just for him?
For staff. For everybody.
Would not surprise me.
Everybody was welcome to the party.
Let's just hope they're buying American.
No,
but
they're getting that straight Cuban stuff. The stuff that they're sending School of the America graduates to go harvest for them.
Pricks, all of them. So again, Biden did not look good when he ran against Trump the second time, and Democrats came down on him like a ton of fucking bricks to resign or to drop out of the race, which he did too late.
Mm-hmm.
However, Trump has been displaying signs of dementia since his first term. Sentence. Yeah. Yep. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because when you are a pathological liar and a narcissist, it's difficult to parse that out. And it's additionally, he's got a ton of other health issues because he eats nothing but well-done steak with ketchup and Burger King or McDonald's every day. So
because he's paranoid that he's going to be assassinated, because he has ties to the mob that led to him believing that his life was in danger at all times. So he thinks that he has to go to places that are going to guarantee the food overcooked or guarantee that it's made fresh so you can stay alive. Because that's the thought process of a sane human being who
I had no idea about that shit. But
he thinks he's going to get murdered because of his mob connections from his dad when he was younger.
It's entirely possible. And I mean, he was emotionally damaged from when he was a kid. You can read up on the horrible psychological damage that was inflicted on him and his siblings. Not that it gives him any reason or excuse to be a complete subhuman fuck.
He was a subhuman to his own uncle.
Yes.
Like,
and his aunts. Yep. And his aunts. He stole most of the inheritance and screwed everybody out. But that'll be a whole nother episode. Right now, it's just... We have a war going on. People are dying, and we are going to be running out of motherfucking food really soon because of the fertilizer issue, and because we threw a whole bunch of money to Argentina for their beef. So now our beef cattle our beef farmers are in deep shit. But we have a demented man at the helm. He is unfit. He was unfit from the day he went down that escalator or looked into the fucking sun during an eclipse. So again, my question is, maggots, conservatives,
get your drug-addled boy.
Yeah. When is enough, and how many times are you going to have to bullshit yourselves to stay on this train? It is not okay, it is okay to hop off that train and to begin the deconstruction process. And there are a lot of people there for to help you out. I may not be one of them, because you're going to have to do a lot to earn my respect back and earn my good graces back after the harm that you've caused. And additionally, there's a lot of those podcast bros, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for this. I need to ask, how was it you were so fooled then when we weren't? How is it that you didn't? In fact, you mocked us. You mocked these libtards and these betas and these cucks, white guys for Harris, etc. How is it you didn't listen to us when we told you all this would happen? Please, please, please reevaluate your critical thinking skills so that you're not taken in by another fucking charlatan ever again. Because this is unexcusable. We saw this almost a decade away.
I can almost tell you the exact reason why most of these people are in the position they're in right now. And it boils down 100% to where they are in perspective to their economic position. Anybody with money, they don't got to worry about the problems we got to worry about. I don't have to sit here and tell them where to get quality cheap cuts of meat to be able to feed their family a decent meal, because they don't ever have to worry about it. They have the pocket change. The corporations that survived this economic downturn from COVID are the same companies that get massive government subsidies to keep themselves afloat, because they can take the hit in other areas of their business while still paying their employees shit wages. We haven't seen a change in the minimum wage since forever. So when you look at the 40% of Americans who Mitt Romney famously said would never vote for him, because he in his head understood that they're intrinsically removed from his worldview.
You just got to pay us enough to live.
Pay us enough to live
pay us enough to fucking live. $7.25, you could triple it and it still wouldn't get the job done. I believe I checked.
Americans enough to live is going to be cheaper than revolution.
Yes.
It's going to be cheaper than us having to rise up as a group and topple whatever power structure you have.
Safer than building a bunker as well.
You're playing a game that is literally predicated on how long you have left to live in your comfy world. And Joe Rogan has that. He's got FU money. Theo Von has FU money. Luke and me don't have FU money. My kids are fed, my house is paid for, and my dogs are actual pets and not emergency food money. That's what I got. But the people who are in worse situations, people that we know are struggling, they don't have that, and they're getting left to the wayside.
And when you're giving gigantic subsidies and contracts for drones that don't fly, or for weapons contractors to make things that we don't need and didn't ask for and don't want, you're motherfucking stealing from us. You are stealing my free Medicare for all money, my single payer health care. You're stealing my UBI. If you can spend $1 billion a day on bombing Iran when Netanyahu tells you to, don't ever tell me in your life that you can't afford Medicare for all, a single payer healthcare system, or universal basic income. You cunts. You're thieves and liars. And I have nothing but contempt for you if you're going to use my money that way, and you're not going to use it to help feed, clothe, house, heal, educate, and lift up the least and the lost, which is supposed to be what you do in this Christian country.
If you want an idea of how deep this root goes, this is the easiest way I can explain this. A person who signs up to be in the military signs away their ability to sue the government if anything happens against them. So the government can treat them in any way it wants, as long as that person is under their federal contract to be a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, or a Coast Guardsman. And they're in that situation, they're willingly giving up that right and that freedom. But Trump sued the DOJ and sued multiple portions of our government for, all these things that he felt were wrongs that they committed under civil charges. And the
DOJ, called it some DEI shit.
The DOJ is going to default on all those judgments and pay Trump the money. Your tax dollars are going to the man that's claiming that all these organizations wronged him while he's controlling those organizations. You either need to wake up, or I'm going to start going around like that dad at that party in that one meme video and slapping the shit out of everybody.
Smack.
Yeah. You're leaving people no options. Last time I've heard of any form of major federal antitrust was when AT&T got disassembled, and all the organizations that came from that are doing the same thing.
They're able to slither their way out of it because they hire lobbyists to write the loopholes in the tax code and in the law.
Get rid of Citizens United.
Yes.
We need to start doing large scale antitrust lawsuits across multiple parts of our economy. And we need to start doing some actual realistic reform when it comes to property ownership and utilization of that property, because we're getting to a point now where the what is it? Architecture, anti-homeless architecture is getting out of effing hand.
Yes, it's insane. You're going to spend money on spikes instead of beds? You savages? You fucking cunts? Shame on you. These are people. These are literally the least and the lost. These are your people.
You are going to go around private property ownership laws to remove people from a private property that the owner is allowing to stay in their lawn and feed them.
I remember that. Yep.
You're trying to do everything you can to weaponize poverty. And we live in a world where, back to the dude bros thing, they're fed meritocracy. They're fed this idea that if you just push through, bro,
if you work hard, you will be
all these things will happen. But
if you're poor, you're lazy. Exactly.
All these Walton kids grew up working so hard to be able to inherit the company their dad broke his back for. Yes. Same with the Meyer family, same with any of the Koch brothers. Their dad, psychopath, made an empire, helped found the freaking John Birch Society, and yet those kids grow up with that wealth and no need for anything else in the world but the power that they gain.
Yes, they actually did.
You're not going to expect them to go crazy and ruin things for other people to keep their power and gain more of it.
Yes,
you're out of your mind.
Because it's a game. You have to accumulate. That's the modus operandi for capitalism. Sarah Kenzor quote: "When wealth is passed off as merit, bad luck is seen as bad character. This is how ideologues justify punishing the sick and the poor, but poverty is neither a crime nor a character flaw. Stigmatize those who let people die, not those who struggle to live." This is the thing. Race, class, and spawn points are all fucking random. If you want an example, go back. I'm an elder millennial, baby. I'm from the Oregon Trail generation. You could pick the class as a banker, and the bankers started off with hundreds more dollars for you to spend on equipment and medicine and food and things like that. And you were able to win the game so much easier. Okay? If you can guarantee me, Mr. Oh, you just need to work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get fucked. If you can guarantee me that X work generates Y income, then I'll buy your fucking theory. However, the guy who is cleaning toilets at a Milwaukee public school is outworking you. I challenge you. Unless you work in an oil rig or with your hands or you're a farmer, something like that, you're getting outworked, outlabored by a poor person who deserves more money than you by your own fucked up logic.
The thing I'll add into this is that we have the mechanisms available to be able to fix a lot of these problems. And a lot of them have to come down to things like the marginal tax rate.
Yes.
If you want to educate yourself, you want to start the journey of where our current class war is at.
Study Eisenhower.
Look up the Great Compression. It was a period of our history post World War II into a pre-1960s period where the marginal tax rate was 90% of a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking
91% under Eisenhower.
If I make $450,000 back when this was around, I would be taxed at the normal percentages of tax on all that money from the 450 down. The marginal tax rate is the amount over that. So if I made $450,001, that $1 would be taxed at 90 cents.
Yes.
And during this period of time, the distance in buying power and economic value between a high-end earner and a lower tier worker was at the lowest our country has ever seen for as far as we've recorded it.
And that's the time where one breadwinner could make everything you need. You have the picket fence, 2 cars, and the vacations.
This was the 91%. Money that sent us to the moon. This was the money that allowed us to do large-scale infrastructure programs without having to worry about making any kind of state pay extra deficit problems. Yes. This was the money that made us the powerhouse in regards to our education system, gave us the availability of the cleanest water available in larger spectrums across our entire entire country than any other nation has been able to have.
Because we paid ourselves first.
We paid ourselves. We invested in ourselves by taking this money that was being used at the largest scale. And if anybody wants to argue that the wealthy should not have to pay their fair share, then explain to me why Jeff Bezos can have an entire fleet of Amazon trucks on the road, wearing it down with their tires, but he's not supposed to pay more money to fix that road, and he should only pay the same amount that I pay for my one car.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
Warren,
they're flying planes in the air. They're dumping chemicals in our water that we have to pay through our tax money to fix.
Well,
and you're telling me that I got to pay the same as them as an individual? No.
Yep. Not fair, even a little bit. Additionally, they're paying, and if you work at Walmart, for example, this is a great example. They're paying you so little that you go on welfare.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving a tax break there. Additionally, they're a WIC spot, or they're a welfare spot. So welfare recipients can buy there. So they're like triple fucking dipping on you. The thing that I remember from Scott Galloway was there only, when wealth inequality becomes this bad, there are only 3 remedies in history: war, famine, or revolution. Don't build a bunker. Lobby Congress to tax you appropriately so that you don't have to fear so badly that you need a bunker. If you just paid us enough to live, if you just paid enough taxes and closed the tax loopholes to allow for universal basic income or a single-payer healthcare system, fuck this Obamacare shit that Democrats are defending. Fuck Obamacare. It was a Republican idea. It was weak beer. I'm tired of talking about that too. It's time for the rich to pay and to demonstrate their leadership through funding the rest of society. Otherwise, I mean, what do they say? If one chimp stole, like, hoarded 90-something% of the resources while other chimps were dying, we would grab that one chimp and experiment on it to find out what the fuck was wrong with it. Here, you get an award.
It feeds, like, exactly. It's a sickness of the mind. You are convinced. Why shouldn't I tax the wealthy? Well, because I could be a millionaire someday, or I could be wealthy. Okay, how are you going to do that? The only reason
you want to support that is because you think that you can profit from it.
The only way you can do it is by being an entertainer, an athlete, or Walter White. I don't know any other way for a person who's born into poverty. And the worst part is that you're being convinced that this is something else that's causing your downtroddenness, because the amount of white people who get raised in predominantly white environments getting told that the Black and Hispanic communities and Asian communities are stealing their work and stealing all these things from them.
The lowest white person is better than the best colored person.
You tell me, because they turn it into a genetics thing. It goes back to the eugenics problems. You still have people who are trying to defend the bell curve. You have people who are still trying to defend all these things that are effectively bunk bullshit to get them to think that they're smarter or more superior than somebody else based off of what is sold to them in this book. If you want evidence that's bullshit, you tell me that your placement in life, your spawn point, is far more important. You tell me that's not more important than a child born to the Obamas. Would you say that they would have a less or better chance than a child born to a white family in a trailer park? Which one of those two groups do you think is going to have a better chance at a bright future?
It's about the money, motherfucker.
It's your spawn point. It's where you were born into. If you want to be smart, pro adult tip. If you ever want to have kids, you want to be in a good school system. You have to have your kids be in a good school system, because it not only gives them a better education, it allows them to network better. The people who go to these private institutions, Harvard, Yale,
they all know each other.
They all know each other, but they're also all paying extra money when they're too poor to really be there for the networking privileges. Anybody who goes there for just the degree is wasting their time. And that's because most of these kids that are there,
whoever's there just for the degree is also probably a black kid on scholarship who's got to work their ass off.
Who's already being treated like shit.
Yeah, and they're not going to be networking because they're not involved in those kinds of mixers, etc.
And when they go to apply for a job at a law firm, and the person who's looking at their resume versus the resume of somebody else, they're gonna immediately go, well, this one candidate's from Yale, and the other one's from Morehouse.
Or this guy
I know which one I'm going to go for.
They both went to Yale, but this guy knows my cousin's cousin's cousin, whatever.
He knows my dad who owns a dealership, right? No.
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ.
You know my dad? My daddy owns
Yeah.
a dealership.
You know who the fuck I am?
You know who the fuck I am?
Ridiculous.
But
so
it's frustrating and it gets exhausting, and we're two very exhausted old men in a desire to no longer sit quietly in a room while the world's going by, and this was the whole thing going on has been a breaking point. There has to be a change, and if I got to scream into the void with Luke arm in arm and we got to do this together, we're just gonna have to do it. And if people have a problem with it, then you can eat my ass. I don't really know what else to tell you. And
fuck off and step in dog shit covered in
basically.
Legos.
But for everybody else, for every fucking body else, I don't want to speak for Luke. I know he's
Hell
got,
yeah.
but we hope that you find us. We hope that you can find some kind of catharsis in our rage, and we hope that you guys can help support us and try to push as many voices into the space as we need, because we desperately need them to outdo all these corporate dumb fucks who think that they can somehow find the mythical moderate to come save the day, because he ain't coming. He's never going to come. She's never going to come. They don't know how to use a vibrator properly. But at the end of the day, I'm going to let y'all know that we're pulling for you and that we're all in this together. All right. Because you said that we're not wolves, we're primates, and you also don't condone violence. But I feel as though if you don't condone violence and we're not wolves, and we want to act more like monkeys. So what you're saying is that if I ever meet Nick Fuentes, I should throw shit at him, is what I'm effectively being told as a way of establishing my dominance.
I don't condone violence. So if you can throw shit at him in a non-violent, gentle, and loving way, maybe get him to fill out some sort of waiver, I'm down it. Hey, maybe he's into that. Maybe he's into that.
Nick, it's okay. Stinky finger.
Yeah, just don't try not to. Yeah, stinky finger. Hey, bet you don't know what this smells like. Oh, I'm sorry.
They call me stinky finger.
This is cut. Don't.
They call me stinky finger. We ran out of toilet paper out there, so I had to start using my thumb.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. Hey, buddy, this is something you've never smelled before. It's called pussy.
No, I was talking about the Boondocks episode with Ed Winslow III. It's like, yeah, they used to call me shit finger because we ran out of toilet paper, so I had to start using my thumb. The enemy could smell me from a mile away.